United States. Okay,
Sweet.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, I am with Mr. Max Beckerman.
Thanks for having me on. How we doing, Regan?
Dude, we are good today. We're chilling. So I was very pleased to watch your film.
Thank
and
you.
I really enjoyed it. I think, you know what I love is that it's so specific. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, like, well, all right. Well, like, before we get into the film, though, so I just wanted to tell you that, just straight off the bat, like, okay, like, I met you at Reddy's party, I think, a couple times.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
And then I think you took, like, a Gotham writing class with him.
Yeah, we met in a Gotham writing class probably 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Him and a friend of ours, Ian, who you
Yeah.
know. And we were all trying to make short films sort of at the same time.
Right.
So it was kind of, it was nice to have just a group of guys doing this exact thing.
Yeah, so, and it was nice to see Ian in the film, too. It was a pleasant surprise. I was like, oh, shit, Ian came through. So was this the film that you were working on in that class?
Actually not. No, I was working on another film. So this script, so my directing partner and I, at least for this movie, is a friend of mine, Jen Nista, who co-directed with me. We did everything mostly together.
Yeah.
We came up with this. We worked together probably like 8 years ago or something.
Oh, wow.
She came in one day with this kind of bit about this, big Italian guy.
Yeah.
Sort of there's some dispute about whether she like met this guy. She kind of claims it popped into her head, but I'm pretty sure what happened was she was like drunk on a beach, basically,
Okay.
like, kind of lying down, and
Of course.
like
Right.
I think we kind of came to the conclusion that she must have heard some guy talking about the clams at the Borgata buffet.
Okay.
And we sort of just started talking. She came in with this bit about this guy who loves and sort of. Originally, he actually kind of also hated the clams.
He hated the clams.
It was sort of
the
like
Borgata.
it was sort of like you couldn't tell whether he liked them, whether they were like it was like these clams are killing me, like it was
This
unclear.
is from her story.
This was sort of it was kind of her like just sort of doing a bit, and then we were doing a bit together,
Okay.
and in that it was like, it shows up in the film actually. There's a bit where he's like, I got IBS from all these clams.
Right.
Originally, it was a lot more of this like. It was really unclear whether he liked them or not.
Okay.
Once it came together, obviously he really likes them, but yeah, she came up with this character. Then we together, I was like, let's write a script about it. We wrote a script. So this was years ago. So I've had this for years, and when we were taking the class, it was like I had already kind of had this script, so that it was more just kind of getting the brain going,
Okay. So that class, did that like kind of help to kind of look at the script with new eyes kind of thing, since you've had it for so long?
Honestly, only a little bit.
Okay,
I would say,
okay,
I mean,
gotcha.
the class was good to like kind of get in the mindset to feel it again and kind of be excited.
Right.
But honestly, the script has been pretty much the same since we wrote it, except for a few little tweaks. We kind of tweaked the ending. But yeah, so it was. It's kind of been the same for like a long time now.
I think a lot of people would think that it's like a pretty absurd premise, which it is, and I don't know if like when you're making this thing, because the idea of it's nice, but I feel like a lot of my editing, like filtering mind would be like, okay, but like really, should I like actually make this thing?
Yeah, I think like. I mean, totally. It was a lot of like, are we like, should we add a plot more? I mean, there's a plot, but like, should we add something to it?
Right.
Should we, scrap this idea? It is kind of like, ultimately, it started as just like kind of a one bit joke.
Yeah.
So it was like, is this a stupid thing to kind of put a lot behind it? But I think once, we had this for so long and I kept coming back to it. Like, I think this is a good idea. Like, I see it. We've had it forever. There was, we had a bunch of iterations. We were like, for a while, I was going to be the Clam Guy.
Yeah.
We were going to do it. There's a very brief, Instagram TV. There's a very brief time when they were trying to launch this like TV thing. And we had this whole idea we were going to do like a bunch of sort of intertwining stories where one character the previous one would show up
Yeah.
in the next one.
Yeah.
And we were going to do this Instagram TV series. We were going to do all these different things. And so I kept coming back to it. I think it was like, and then at some point I was like, no, like, let's do it this year. Like, it was the start of the year. I was like, we are going to make this film this year. And then we just started putting it together. It just sort of, it like expands. If you like, I think if you believe in it, if you believe, like, have an idea, you're like we were like, this idea is good.
Yeah.
So every time there was an idea of like, should we do a little more for this? Should it be like higher quality? Should we have more of a crew? Like, the answer was always like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I want to spend all my money on this.
No, I think if your mind, like, no matter what it is, if your mind keeps going back to it and you yourself, like, it's kind of funny because you're like, oh, now the Clam Guy has become me. In a sense, because you're just obsessed with the idea of it.
I think that's exactly right, right? Like, you can't, it just kept coming back to it. And I think the same thing of like this kind of very silly, absurd premise that, Yeah,
I also just was thinking, like, and, maybe this is not obviously, I mean, it's like how I was perceiving it was like, oh, he's clearly afflicted with this addiction. And he could probably go to some meetings.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could use. I think you could obviously use a therapist.
Yeah, I think so.
Like,
yeah,
like, there's no question that this is, it's a fucked up perception. You say fuck on this, right?
Dude, you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
Like, there's literally, unless like you're straight up being racist, like that's the only.
Gonna try not to.
I mean, you can, and if you are, it's okay.
Okay, all right. I guess
we'll just cut it out.
Yeah, I'd rather cut out any racism.
I've shit talked directly.
Cut here. Okay, cut here.
Okay.
No, okay, don't.
It's like cut here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no racism is good. On this, that's cut. If you don't see it, it's because we cut it. If it's not on the cast, cut any of the racist stuff I said. No, I mean, what was I on about? It was like
overeating.
I mean, the idea, this guy, obviously he has this unhealthy obsession.
Yeah.
I think, the idea when you get into it is like, what do the clams represent? And to us, it's his unfulfilled life, right? It's sort of everything he wants that he doesn't have or that he yearns for, that the world sort of kept for him. So what ended up kind of selling me on this and selling us on this idea is like clams in language are kind of a metaphor for a lot, right? They're a metaphor. Clams money, right? You have people like, give me the clams. Is like it's a term for money sometimes. It's a term for pussy. Honestly, it's a term for like women.
Yeah,
it's this obviously something he cares about a lot. And in this, it's also sort of a term for family in this, and it's like yearning.
Okay.
So to us, it was sort of like not only just in language, but in what they represent in the film to him. I think it was meant to be like they sort of are everything unfulfilled in him.
I like the. So I want to talk about the actor for a moment. Like, how did you discover him?
So actually, okay. So we had
Michael
going into it. Yeah, Michael Michaelessie.
Yeah, shout out, dude. Great, dude.
He so we were gonna use Ian originally.
Okay.
And at some point we're like, we kind of need an older guy, and like,
character.
I met. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like knew we needed a little more, like a little like we needed the actual guy a little more, I think. And so we started casting, and honestly, I couldn't find anyone. We got a bunch of solid auditions. We were trying all sorts of stuff out, watching all these videos, and some people were good. It wasn't like it just you could tell like this is like, I don't know how we're gonna coach this person to being what we need. And then my friend was like, and I knew of this man, Michael. My friend was like, hey, like, I think he might be good for it. And what I knew is he's my friend's kind of crazy landlord. He's your friend's landlord. He was my friend's landlord. A bunch of friends lived across the street from me. Yeah. They all lived in this big house, and there were like 5 of them.
This is
together.
In Bed-Stuy.
Yeah, and I'd be hearing about this guy for years, and he'll admit this. Like, when he comes, we kind of hide from him because he won't shut up. I love him. He doesn't shut up. So they were like, I think you might want to talk to him. The first time I talked to him, like, I sent him the script, and he calls me. It's like an hour conversation about all the things he thinks like should change or kind of be done and why he's sort of is the character. He's like, they actually made a documentary about me once involving clams. He's like, this is a true story, he says all the time. I got to remember what the exact number is. He claims to have eaten, I think it was 158 oysters under the Brooklyn Bridge with the screwdriver he was sort of using to open it.
Okay.
And then we brought it the other day, and he was like, yeah. He's like, I made a mignonette.
A mignonette?
It's like the vinegar sort of lemon you put in with oysters when you eat them.
Okay.
It doesn't matter when you eat that many oysters. You know, he was using it. He would use it. He would eat oysters before acting or going out because, you know, aphrodisiac purposes. In his mind, it would get him going.
Interesting.
I don't know where he got 150 from.
Interesting.
But anyway, so he has all these kind of crazy, obviously oysters aren't clams. There's sort of a whole, you know, we have a whole thing about it.
Yeah.
But he like clearly was this guy. Like,
this is like literally doesn't need to audition. Just like his stories, that's it.
He didn't. Yeah, no, he didn't audition.
Yeah.
No, he might have. He might have sent me a tape, and we already. But I already kind of.
You were like, we fucking know.
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
the guy right here.
And you know, it was a very tough process with him. He's very
like on
intense. And said actually less before, because we were. You know, he basically was really, you know, he really wants things a certain way. We had a very, like, he wants things to sort of, like, he wants to see the character. He wants to be in it and feel it. And it involves a lot of yelling. It involves a lot of, you know, like kind of fighting. I mean, both of us.
Pre-production?
Yeah. But I'd say because we had it for probably a couple of months before we shot.
Okay.
And there was a point where we were planning on firing him, and he was planning on quitting.
Okay. Like at the same time?
At the same time, basically. I mean, he claims he was going to quit. We claimed we were going to fire him. I mean, we did try. We did try to recast, and there was just nobody that could do it. And he showed up one time to a session at my house, and we were like it was a rehearsal sort of, and we ended up working some stuff through it, not like just from him sort of acting. Like he came in sort of in character and was, you know, found what he was looking for in there. So, I mean, that's what kind of did it, you know, it was interesting. We ended up putting some of the stuff he found in the script. That was really the biggest change. It's towards the end, some of the stuff with it, where he's a little more yelling, a little more involved. We put that in based on kind of him doing this during the session. But it ended up just being we kind of like we couldn't not use him. Once we kind of saw how good he was and we worked with him, and ended up he actually showed up on set and was really good. He really just sort of did everything. It was it was the pre-process. Partly I think he was he didn't trust a couple of kids in his mind who had never made a film.
Okay.
And I think he was like, these guys are bullshitting me. They don't know a story, all this stuff.
I see.
I mean, he still, don't get me wrong, he still does it to me.
What is his his background? Like, what has he done?
He is in the Virgin Suicides for one scene. If you've ever seen the film, he's the construction worker trying to get them untied from a tree. They've all tied themselves to a tree.
Gotcha.
That's really the only major acting credit. But he's been acting for a long time.
Well, that's what I asked because I had another actor, Theodore, come on this podcast, and I don't know. Maybe there's a trend with New York actors that have been in the game since like the early 90s, that when you talk to them, they have these insane stories and they just like keep going. Like when I was talking to Theodore, it was like, brrr, like I named the title of the episode Windbag because he kept calling. He was like, I'm a windbag. I'm just gonna like keep going. I'm just gonna keep talking. And so I just sit there for like probably like 30 minutes just going.
There's a style.
But he kind of reminded me of Michael. Reminded me of he could easily kind of like have been ripped from like a Safdie Brothers universe.
Totally. I mean,
easily.
He's very intense and he's just a good actor. He is. I mean, it's sort of. I would say it's. I don't know if he would call it method. I think it's like sort of method adjacent the way he does it.
I
he's
if
not
he's having if he's had 150 oysters under a bridge.
Well, yeah, but I mean that was before he knew about the role,
Yeah,
so it was, our whole life was method for that. But it's sort of like I don't think he doesn't, like he doesn't. You don't call him the character. He doesn't like claim to be in character all the time. But he's focused in a way that he usually isn't on set. He's very like he has to like be in the scene, and then he goes and just sits kind of quietly on his own. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still talk some, but it's a very different person when he's acting. So it's a kind of a whole different thing, and he has to be very much in the moment. He gives you kind of. I'd be interested to see because I've been planning on working with him again. I have a couple ideas. We've been almost made one last year, but it sort of fell through, so we're working on another one now. Yeah. And I haven't seen yet what will happen when I need him to do something he's not doing, because he mostly just does, Wait,
what do you mean?
Like, so, I mean, in this film, like, he made it his own a lot. We accepted that this is his character now, like, to an extent. We have to accept what he's going to do. Because, like, the Clam Guy is now him. Like, we're going to let him sort of dictate it and not push. Because originally he was a much chiller guy. Yeah. He was very, just totally aloof. Okay. In this one, he's obviously kind of more intense. He's more very aggressive. Like, he was never aggressive when it was previously written. I mean, he would talk and he would kind of say some aggressive stuff, but it wasn't, you felt like, kind of this aloof guy. And then when Michael came in, it became so much more intense and so much more of a drama. So it was, we just decided at some point, might as well make that what it is, because we have this guy who's going to do it, and he's going to do it well. So that, we ended up just kind of letting him do that. There are times when we changed direction some, and I'd say one time where we really needed him to do something different and he wouldn't. But it's, when he's walking down the alley, towards the end, we wanted him to like show this whole range of emotions, kind of like go through every one. Yeah. And he wouldn't, because he was so in this moment, he just sort of walked down this alley sobbing.
Well, you're talking about, this is the scene that after he gets kicked out?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and the film is sort of cut up between, but he basically, he's walking down this alley just sobbing, kind of like talking to himself. That wasn't, like, originally we were just supposed to kind of show a bunch of different emotions. Yeah. And then we're like finished. I'm like, great, now can you do one angry? And he was like, no, I can't. I'm like too spent.
I'm not going to.
He was like, I really can't do it. Yeah. And so what I ended up doing was like making him angry.
Interesting.
So it basically was just like kind of goaded him. So we like, I got him to walk down. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, you're mad? Like, that's called acting. You gotta, like, this is what acting is. So I knew it would really get him going. It really just sort of like, I just pissed him off. I was like, I was kind of like Jen, like, co-director. I was like, Jen, do we need this? And she was like, I think we do. Yeah. I was like, all right, here's what I'm gonna do. And I went and just sort of like pissed him off. And he knew it. He knew, like, it was clear he knew what he was doing. Right. And he knew what I was doing.
What you were doing, yeah.
But like, kind of, that's what got him. So he has this whole scene where he's like, he's like kind of stumbling down his alley yelling. He has this line in the movie, it's just really silly, that we insisted on keeping it, where he says, why don't you stick this up your ass, dude. Take a shit and make a diarrhea shake with it. That is what he says. That was my favorite line. That is what he said to me. That's not in the script. That's not anything. He just told me that because he was mad at me. Cake. Yeah, a diarrhea shake. It was like this weird like line he came up with on the spot when he was yelling at me. Like, it wasn't part of the thing. He just sort of was so mad, and he just started,
I have the experience like that where, but it doesn't come from like me having to like do this like scene a specific way, but just from frustration with the director himself, because the director didn't like really kind of know what they were what they wanted out of the scene. And I was in LA and I just launched into this like angry fucking monologue. Yeah. I'm like, fuck you, LA, fuck this shit. Like, and then we put it in the cut. Yeah. And that's like some of the most fun shit ever.
I feel like, that makes sense. Like, when you feel it's raw, when you know it's gonna happen. When you know you're mad and throwing it in there. I feel like not as not an actor, I feel like that's kind of, I imagine what you have to do a little bit is like when you feel something, just throwing it in there and kind of knowing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the context, and like obviously if you're working in like a network budget, whatever, $1 million plus, whatever, you're gonna have a more, you know, structured approach to your acting. But when you're doing something a little bit smaller scale, you have that freedom, and I think sometimes that's where the beauty of it comes in. Is like that's what actors love doing, is just kind of freely expressing themselves. Whereas like, you know, in like something more structured, you're gonna have like, you know, the barricades up, or like, okay, well, we have a set schedule, we have to do this XYZ. But I want to do. I was happy to see Ian like pop up, because I think I like recalled that he was in the film, but then I'd forgotten about it. And then when I saw him, I was like, oh shit, Ian's in this. And so I watched it again. The second time I watched it, I was like, oh, this is like, you know, obviously you watch it for the first time and you're just like experiencing this character, right? The second time around, I said like, oh, I'm curious kind of what you thought of. Initially you were like, okay, this is kind of like a comedy, or like this is like a character. But then I think what you said, you're like, oh, we turned it into a story. And so Ian's character has like a specific function, I feel like. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit? Yeah.
So Ian Almale, a good friend of mine, we went to summer camp together years ago. Mm-hmm. We didn't reconnect until like 5 years ago, maybe. And yeah, I mean, basically his character, Nick, in the film is his brother-in-law. And we needed him to have this sort of antagonist, like the one person who, like, in the movie, like, he's an asshole. Like, he feels like an asshole. Like, this guy's kind of a dick. Yeah. But, like, I don't know, like, you could easily look at it as, like, this guy's 100% right. He's sort of like an audience surrogate, right? Because he is just like, hey, why are you in my house talking about clams all the time? And he kind of, you know, the idea, I think, is that, and I'm just going to spoil the movie, obviously, like, is that he's always sort of known that the Clam Guy has never, like, seen a clam. Okay. Right? Like, he's always, you know, like, that, like, anyone kind of knows this. Right. If you spend enough time with them, but no one calls it out.
He's just a guy who's like, clams, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
at some clams,
at some point, like, he, like, this is, like, he is fed up. He's like, well, I'm gonna call him out finally. Yeah. Like, he, you know, he's like, I can't do this anymore with you. Like, I can't play this game. He's pissed me off enough. And, like, yeah, he plays an asshole, but he's not really wrong. He's, you know, he's kind of, like, just tired of dealing with this.
But I also, like, it was interesting in the sense, like, you kind of created a game inside where he's like, okay, well, why don't you tell me, you know, I'll give you a month free of rent if you can show me what a clam looks like. I'll give you a year. And he just, like, keeps goading him that way. And I just thought it was an interesting kind of thing to kind of turn the story and give it a little bit more, you know, I guess, like, it kind of functioned as a little bit of a gas pedal on the story a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, at some point we need to find out that, you know, he hasn't seen a clam, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah. It's really kind of the only, you know, I'd say the overarching story is that he's, like, sort of being pushed to Clamtopia, the place where your dreams come true. But in the story, like, the one driver is like, he's supposed to pay rent, and it's like, you know, it's not really ever pushed. He doesn't really do much about it. Right. But that is sort of his one kind of thing, and we needed, you know, like, I think it's just like we have to see it happen, and I think it's kind of fun to do it in this way, where, like, you know, like, for a second you might not. Like, when he's like, show me how you eat a clam. Yeah. Like, you might be like, what is this kind of, like, if you're an audience member, like, why is he, like, what's the point of that? Right. It seems kind of silly. I think it was just kind of a fun way to be like get him to reveal it without saying, have you ever seen a clam? Right? Because I think at this point, Nick, and this is where he is an asshole, is trying to embarrass him. Right? He's trying to be like, not just like make him say he's never eaten a clam, but like show it. That he goads him into kind of being like, you know, clams, like, hey, like, come on, no, just show me. I'm just curious, you know, like, and that was always part of the thing. It was like, you know, like, like kind of making him dig his own grave, right? That he could, if he just knew how to eat a clam or even like basic research could kind of pass this test. But Nick knows very well that he doesn't know.
Right.
So he's kind of, he lets him embarrass himself.
Clams Casino.
Yeah.
That was that was it. And then I think, I also enjoyed the kind of like the music element of what you use there. I think the end credits. What was that song in the end credits?
It's Faraway Places by The Bachelors. That one actually, that was Jen, my co-director, had like, we were on set and she kept being like, there's a song stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And she kept like trying to figure it out. And then somewhere towards the end of shooting, she was like, oh, here's the song. And we were listening to it. We just like couldn't stop listening to it. And so when it came, time to edit, we were listening to it still. We did like a scissor reel. We put that song in and we kind of realized it sort of matches our themes. He's being called somewhere to this faraway place that we don't like. In the song, he doesn't really know even, it's how I interpret it. He's like, it doesn't sound like he exactly even knows these places. He just sort of references all these places he'd like to go. They're all calling him. And that was sort of this idea of like, he's being called, Clam Guy is being called to Clamtopia, which in this case sort of just represents, the fulfillment of all the stuff he's wanted.
Did you have to get like a permission or anything for that?
No, we should have. Technically, you have to. What I was told, and I don't want to pass on advice, and I'm not 100% sure.
We'll cut it out.
My understanding, is you're not supposed to is that short films, when you're not making a profit, you should get permission, but it doesn't really end up doing much,
Right.
because no one cares.
When like you talked about like how he was kind of like a workhorse on set. He was like good and everything. Did you cut a lot from the film, or was it just kind of what it is?
I mean, sort of. Basically, we wrote this, and it came in, and there was always a lot of room to kind of figure out like tone and stuff from just like, because it's a kind of a light story. Yeah, it's a light story. It's a lot of monologues. So we ended up, I would say we more added, because almost all of the monologues that we had written end up in the movie. And then we have all these other lines. There's like, we go into this montage where he has this like clams live 400 years kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's all him. We do this, we had this plan for a montage that was very, it wasn't very set. It was kind of like, we have this thing, not sure what to do. So what we did on set was like, we'd set it up in whatever our locations. We'd set up 1 or 2 scenes, and we'd just like turn on the camera and be like, hey, just talk about clams for like 5 minutes. Yeah. So that later we'll cut it together. And we ended up using a lot of that stuff because it was really good. We cut one scene basically. Originally he had this whole sort of rant about taking like women and kind of like it was kind of his gross rant. The whole bit is he sort of he takes a woman down to the Borgata and he goes to the buffet and he says, and then I lean under the sneeze guard and I dip those puppies in clam juice, and he has this whole bit about kind of like we had a character was a buxom woman who kind of walks by him.
Oh yeah, that was in the sizzle reel or something.
Yeah,
and like she like squeezes by him.
Yeah, exactly. We had that originally. That was a scene, and what we found was, like, I think it was just a little gross. It kind of made people. I think what we were finding for a lot of this is like, you have to like him a little bit at least.
Okay, yeah.
And what was happening was like watching this guy became so vulgar and kind of like unpleasant. It ended up making like you not really root for him the same way.
Right.
So we ended up taking that out. Kind of like theme-wise, we wanted the idea of this being sex to him too, that the clams were partly sex as well. Uh-huh. But we found that it just wasn't. It kind of made everyone a little unpleasant, which sucks because he was really good in this scene. He has this whole like. Right. he like really sells it, and I think partly that's why it was coming out.
That's why it was so gross.
Because it was like he was
real. He was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do this.
Like his movements, and he was really good in it. We had we nailed like a camera movement. It was like kind of one of our few like moments of movement from the camera. And we just decided it wasn't working, which is tough to kind of kill a scene that you really like, but I think it made the movie better.
Yeah, I think in that case you'd have this kind of jarring kind of feeling of like, okay, like we like this guy, but also he's a shit, and yeah, you get that feeling where like you said, like you can root for him. Like, okay, that scene where he's like eating sand. Is that like a cookie, or is that?
Yeah. So actually, I have a friend, Nate, who's a baker, and I was like, it was incredible. I was like, hey, we have this sort of idea where he has cookies that are shaped like clams, and they have to crumble. Yeah. And he's like, got it. So like, you want like shortbreads that can crumble like sand, and we're like, yeah. And he ended up like, he made he made a batch. He sent it to me. We're like, hey, bigger, and he ended up just matching exactly what we needed.
I love it.
And they're really. Well, unfortunately, what happened was we were in Jersey and we left the box of cookies in the hotel room, so we never actually got to eat them.
Oh no!
But yeah, it was actually really. Our friend just did this like incredible job of designing these cookies.
Well, I'm sure somebody who stumbled upon the cookies.
I would really hope so. These clam-shaped cookies.
Clam-shaped cookies. And then, so what's kind of what are you? So you said you're like thinking about working on another thing with him. Are you trying to do more shorts? Are you working on a feature? Kind of, what's the next move?
I think I have another short coming. I have a couple ideas kicking around.
Yeah. Like in the writing stage, or are you?
In the writing stage. The writing stage. Yeah. I had a previous one we were going to do that was set on a boat. I had an alien. I actually still own the alien. Maybe I'll use for that or something else one day.
Like what do you mean?
I had it's like a big bulbous sort of like tentacled alien kind of thing.
Like a stuffed animal?
No, it's like sort of like latex.
Oh,
I had like one crafted. Yeah, I had a big prop crafted.
Interesting.
There's actually two of them, but I have one like an FX person in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But anyway, I ended up not being able to do that one. Just through some boat issues. Yeah. So we're now, I have one kind of kicking around about a haunted batting cage that we might see very soon.
Interesting.
And that would definitely be a Michael Michaelessie production, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we have that and a couple other ideas kicking around, but I think I'll do another short, and then hopefully we can find a way to get a feature done.
So and these other shorts, are they going to be kind of in the same? I feel like this style of yours is kind of this grounded, absurd aesthetic. I don't know if that kind of describes.
I think that's probably pretty accurate. I mean,
like haunted baseball cage sounds like another guy interviewed Brian Lee. He one of his first films that he did was like a realistic take on Cupid. Like Cupid's like this 50-year-old guy who he's like just walks around wearing a diaper and like hitting people with arrows and shit. Yeah. But like I feel like you've got this kind of like, but for yours is a bit even more like set in the real world.
Yeah.
Like absurd.
I think that comes, I mean, partly it was co-directed, so I think it'll be different on the next one, because obviously it'll be just my tone. It'll depend on the actors and everything. But I think, this sort of the surrealist kind of thing, I think is, I don't really want to go away. That's something I like. And, I think that's always a tone I strive for.
So you said, so this is co-directed, obviously, and your co-director is?
Jen Nista, I think I mentioned.
Jen Nista, you mentioned it. So, what are like the difference? Like, what are the different kind of heads doing in this co-directing partnership? Like for this movie.
So when we did it, I mean, like outside of it, it was just kind of like coming together. When we were like pre-production, post-production is come together, figure out what we want for every scene, and everything. But on set, it was more. I would say I would go work with the actor, and Jen would sort of lock the shot, You know, so that was how we kind of split it up.
I see.
So I would go kind of talk to the actors. I mean, it was nice. It was nice because, you know, it gave you time back because, you know, she could set up the shot, make sure it's good. I can come back and sign off or tweak if I want.
I see.
I can go relate to the actors and kind of talk to them about whatever we want.
Okay. It gives you a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I guess like just going back, like back in time. Well, I was gonna even think about like, oh, haunted batting cage sounds like right up the alley again. Like that sounds like this is definitely gonna be. Now he's like a manager and he's like obsessed with baseballs.
I mean, it's not, you know, it's not that,
It's
you
not,
know.
not that.
Yeah, you know, of course, I'm not going to, you know, give it away too much because also
100%.
it could change a ton, but
100%.
yeah, certainly, yeah.
Well, so going back in time then, like how did you even, I like to ask like a lot of the filmmakers that I bring on, you know, how do you even like, what was kind of like your origin story? Like how did you even kind of figure out like, oh, I enjoy, you know, movies, story, all that shit.
So I guess, I mean, the origin story I kind of go with usually, so I look at the camera back and forth all the time. I never know. The origin story I go with is I was a pretty sick kid. I have Crohn's disease. I miss a lot of school. And what I would do is sort of be at my grandparents' house or parents' house just sort of all day, kind of on my own from like, you know, like just months through like middle school, high school, kind of just like having to be somewhere on my own. So I'd end up just watching like 3 or 4 movies a day.
Oh, wow.
So because I don't really have much else to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I would do all day.
Okay.
Is just watch like mostly trash, to be honest.
Like what?
I just watch like any sort of like sci-fi action movie that came out from like 2005 to 2013 or so. I mean, probably, you know, not quite that late. I would just watch anything that came out, like all of the, like every Underworld movie, like all these Aeon Flux, if you remember that one.
Yeah, dude.
Like all these movies are like Pandorum, if you ever, it's kind of like whatever movies that like came out. Some of them are better than others, but I would watch a lot of that. I would mix in good movies sometimes just by accident, but kind of just do this all day. So I have this thing where I can always kind of watch like 3 movies if I want.
Right.
Like if I'm like, even now every once in a while, if like I'm home alone, like my girlfriend's not home and it's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock and I have nothing to do, it might just be like, I might just burn through some movies, which isn't, I don't think necessarily like a healthy way to watch or even like the best way to like get like ideas or like kind of learn from them. But I still can do it.
But so you were watching a lot of movies as a kid, and then, but like did you? I don't know if you mentioned like if you went to film school or.
So no, my dad is he's retired now.
Yeah.
He ran a public television station in Jersey. He also worked. Some nepotism here. My current job, I work for a company. We do press junkets.
Okay.
When a movie comes out, we do all the interviews with them, basically in a hotel room. I work as a production coordinator for that. When my dad was a cameraman for that, as a freelancer for years, so I kind of was just around a little bit. That's how I met Jen, co-director. We worked freelance together on that as PAs. So I kind of was around it a little bit. And I was always very interested in writing. I think I found that my family has always just been a history of kind of like semi-failed writers, people who wanted to write. I found my grandma. I have an uncle who actually really does it. You know?
Yeah.
And when I moved to New York, I went to college for political science. What's my major? It was public policy major. I worked in that for a few years in Jersey after college. It was very miserable. And realized I couldn't really do it anymore, decided to quit and be a writer in New York, which is, you know, works until you need to like get money to live. And then, I mean, I just kind of I've always had an interest in films. I've always had an interest in making films. And, you know, we've been doing comedy sketches and things like that over the years. And in college, I took some film classes and I did a really bad, my friend one time showed up with like a camera, like a really, you know, like a camcorder kind of thing. And he was like, there's a film festival, they give you a free camera to just rent, obviously, to make this if you want. So we made an awful short that I won't even say where you can watch it because it was, you know, it didn't really come out well. We didn't really know how to set it up or anything. All the sound didn't work.
Yeah.
And then we went to a film festival and found out it was kind of like real. That they were like, we saw films that were actually kind of good. And
Like actually good movies, yeah.
But it was like, it was really cool to make at the time. I still had a great time making it. And I think, you know, it stuck with me a little bit of like, oh, I like doing this.
Okay. And so that was kind of like, all right, that's let's keep doing this. I feel like, I feel like at some point you just do something and it sticks and you're just like, I can't stop doing it. And I feel like you're almost trapped in that kind of creative orbit, and now you'll never be able to not do it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel,
unless you get like a lobotomy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the urge. It's hard because with films, like, you know, there's a finite amount of times I can make a short film. Presumably, it's very expensive. I mean, there's ways to do it cheaper, obviously, and I think it's just, you know, like finding ways to get it done every time.
I'm so impressed with you directors that are like just like straight up directors, because I've tried directing, you know, my own hand. Like I'm working on this short right now, and it's just taking so fucking long to get through the edit, get through the sound, get through this and that. I'm like, well, my focus is acting. So for me, it's like, okay, just like get a zillion scripts, do the thing, get in. Like, I think for acting, you get to just kind of go through story after story and like just dive into each story and then like do that and have a really good time with that and then get out. But where like with writing and directing, it's just like, yeah, you know, the script's done. We finished we finished the, what do you call the, we finished the edit. We've done this, blah, blah, blah. Like, fucking, you want to move. I want to move on to the next thing. I'm like, what's like, it's like the ADHD fucking
It's,
brain.
I mean, I like, it's shocking how much time this took. Like, it's like probably, I would say like 5 times the amount, like,
I'm not
5
shocked.
times the
It's
amount of times that
beautiful.
I spent on like anything I've ever done. Like,
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, like, I've never done something that took this much time or like effort. And it was, I mean, it is hard, like, going from, like, after we shot it, which is 2.5 years ago or so now. Yeah. Like, we were like, great, we're kind of done. And then we're like, we know we have to edit it, but, you know, we'll get there. And then, like, it took, like, 8 months before we realized we had to, like, actively do this. And then that took almost a year because it was just exhausting. You have to do so much to get it done. And I didn't even, like, kind of register how much the post process was, right? Because I edited like comedy shorts by myself before, and then all of a sudden it's like, this is like, we have to get a sound mixer, we have to get like someone to do like light VFX, like we have to do all this stuff that I wasn't even aware like was a possibility. And all of a sudden there's all sorts of new things that cost money and like required me to like go beg someone to do it for us. Like it was, I've never didn't know what it took. I mean, part of that's producing too is kind of like is exhausting as a whole, but yeah, it's really weird to be like, I hate this movie right now. I don't anymore but I've seen it like 100 times. And then explaining this to people and talking to people, especially people maybe who haven't done anything like this before, you're like, yeah, and it's 11 minutes long.
One other question I had about the film though, like going back to it for a second, is like, so I was watching again with my roommate last night, and I don't know if I want to like ruin it. I won't ruin it.
I kind of already have it.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Is that if they're watching this much of the podcast, like
then they should just watch it.
You might as well just watch it. But at the end, he's like goes into the water and like ducks out of frame. Like you can't see him. Like you go into the water. There's just like, did he hold his breath? Like what?
So I mean, like that was like our big money shot. We were like exhausted. I haven't slept in like 3 days. Yeah. So we shot 3 days. One was just our apartment scenes. Yeah. One was our bodega, and then just like him walking around. And then the third day we went to Jersey. We started in sort of central-ish Jersey, shooting the bit on like the dream sequence, right? That was kind of our first thing. That was at sunrise, so like 5 a.m. And then we tried to Atlantic City, and I mean, like this. First of all, we got like a permit, but the permit is sort of just like you're allowed to film, and there's a beach full of people, and we kind of needed to be empty.
Yeah.
And so we did this whole thing where it was probably like 20, 30 people, where I walked around. I put like a walkie on, and I held a clipboard, and then I would have Jen on the walkie. She would yell. She'd be like, "Do you get these people off yet? You get them off." And then I would go up to people like, "I'm so sorry." Like it was just like I'm in like a PA getting yelled at. I'm like, and I would kind of like pretend to turn the mic down, but she'd still be yelling. So we did this whole little bit where I went around pretending to like just getting getting abused by my boss, basically. So and it worked. We got almost everyone off. There's one guy, you can't really see him in the top. Like right corner of the frame. There's this one guy, and he was an Irish guy, and he was like sleeping on the beach. And I woke him up, and I'm like, "Hey man, I'm really sorry. Like we're shooting a film." And like before he interrupts me, before I say anything, he was like, "Is it about fathers getting fucked in the ass by child support?" I was like, "What? What do you mean?" He's like, "Is that what your film's about?" I'm like, "No." And then we're like, "Okay, like,
holy shit,
would you mind moving?" It's like, "No, I'll be in your film, but I won't move." And we're like, "All right." We just sort of like, okay. So we just left him there. I think we put a trash can to sort of block him. But anyway, so we do that, and then we don't know anything about the water. So we do a shot where I test it out. Mm-hmm. I went in the water and kind of did it just to kind of see.
Perfect.
And then. Yeah, we basically, because we only had one take for it, because he has to be soaking wet. We don't really have an option to do it again.
Right.
So we do it, and then, he actually just does this thing where he like realized he was walking too kind of far out. It was just taking too long because it's really like it was not very deep, the water, and he just dropped, like he just like went straight down. And it just looked so good. And then...
What do you mean? Wait, he like dropped?
He just kind of like went to his knees. Like went straight under.
Okay.
So we did this kind of... He just went for it. And then then we just masked him swimming out later. So we put there's some VFX on that, just matching the waves.